How does a profitable year turn into a business-ending quarter? If you run a seasonal trade, roofing, HVAC, landscaping, paving, you already know the feeling. The busy season looks great on paper, and then one quarter almost takes you out. Quick note before we get into it. I'm an AI avatar of Askia Roberts, a licensed CPA. Every word here was written and approved by the real me. Today, we're breaking down why the slow quarter is the dangerous one, even after a strong year. We'll cover the myth that profit protects you, the real mechanism, timing, not totals, a range for how big a reserve typically needs to be, and who this doesn't apply to. This is the one gap that catches good operators every single year. Here's the myth. I had a profitable year, so I'm fine. Profit is an income statement number, revenue minus expenses over 12 months. It says nothing about which week the cash actually lands in your account. A seasonal contractor may show strong annual profit and still run out of cash in February because the P&L blends busy season income with slow season nothing into one smooth average that doesn't exist in real life. Meanwhile, your obligations don't smooth out with you. Quarterly estimated taxes are due on a fixed calendar date regardless of what quarter you're in. Payroll for your core crew often continues through the slow season if you want them back in spring. Insurance and bonding renewals don't wait for revenue to show up. Profit is real, but it's an annual story. Cash is a weekly one. And that's the story that actually determines whether you make payroll. So how does this actually break a business? It's a collision of timing, not a shortage of money. Picture the calendar. Your busy season runs spring through fall, and that's also when you're earning the profit that generates your estimated tax bill. But that tax payment is often due in the dead of your slow season. The same week's revenue has dropped off, crew hours have been cut but not eliminated, and a renewal notice for your general liability policy shows up. 3 obligations, one thin quarter. None of those bills are unreasonable on their own. The problem is they all land in the exact window your bank balance is lowest. That's the mechanism. It's not that the year didn't make money, it's that the money made in month 4 gets spent covering costs from month 11. And if nothing bridges that gap, you're financing your slow season with a credit card or a missed payment. Here's how you size the bridge. Start by looking at your worst historical slow season stretch, typically 2 to 4 months for most seasonal trades, and total what goes out during it. Estimated taxes, baseline payroll, insurance, debt service. For a lot of contractor businesses we see, that gap typically runs somewhere in the range of $15,000 to $75,000, depending on crew size and how long your off-season runs. And I want to be clear, that's an illustrative range from patterns we've seen, not a promise or an estimate for your specific business. The move is to set aside a slice of every busy season deposit, often somewhere in the 10% to 20% range, into a separate account earmarked only for that slow quarter gap. So the reserve is already sitting there before the bills hit instead of being built during the emergency. Now, the caveat, this isn't universal advice. If your revenue is genuinely flat year round with no real seasonal swing, a seasonal cash reserve isn't the tool you need. That's a different cash flow conversation entirely. And if you're brand new, under 2 seasons of history, you may not have reliable numbers yet to size a reserve off of. So guessing at a target can do more harm than good. A conservative starting cushion makes more sense until you have real data. This also isn't a substitute for underlying profitability. If the business isn't profitable even in the good months, a reserve just delays the reckoning instead of preventing it. You may want to work through your specific seasonal pattern with your own CPA before locking in a number, because the right target depends on your actual off-season length and obligations, not a generic rule of thumb. Quick ask before we get to the link. If this is useful, go ahead and subscribe. We post one of these every week. Now, this plays out differently depending on what you run. A healthcare practice's slow season looks nothing like a roofing company's, and a professional services firm's cash rhythm is different again. The link in the description goes to the right one for you. Just tell us what you run.
Remember that contractor staring at his laptop, invoices in one hand, a tax notice in the other? He's back at that same desk now, same lamp, same window, same truck outside. But this time his shoulders are down. He's looking at a second account on the screen. He started feeding all season, and for the first time in years, the slow quarter bills don't feel like a threat. He's not guessing anymore. He knows the number, and the number is covered. That's the difference a real plan makes. You need about 15 minutes and the right numbers for your specific business. That's what's waiting behind the link below.